Mopar people, it's 413 time. Let's finish it up. Oil pump, heads. See, I got those painted. Lifters in. I don't have the distributor here. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the water pump on. Rather the water pump housing than the water pump. Button up the top end. I got it gangster leaning right now, so I can put that oil pump on. I'm debating on whether I go ahead and paint it before I throw it on an engine, and that way I don't have to paint it on the engine over and over and over. So I may go ahead and do that. I'll be back with you in a minute. This is actually, it says sealed power, vintage, made in USA. And then they give you a melling gasket and O-ring for it. O-ring goes, ouch. The O-ring goes right there. All I'm going to check for with this dude is be sure she spins freely. That's good to go. And I guess that's about it. A lot of people like to take them apart and look in them. With big blocks, I don't see the need in it. If it doesn't pump oil, you can unbolt it off the side of the motor, put you a new one on real quick. I do like that USA stamping. That looks good. But I'm going to get this cleaned up, painted, and thrown on the engine. Alright, got my oil pump outside drying. I was test fitting this water pump housing from 440 Source. And I want to go ahead and get the water pump itself installed in there. This is a Summit 312317. Super cool as cast. That's what it looks like. It's kind of like a stock Mopar water pump to me. Propellers look like that. See if it fits in our... Usually when I put these on, I put the weep hole towards the bottom. That's always kosher. And it looks like it's going to work. It's not hitting our housing or anything. And they sent a gasket, so that's cool. I'm going to get it cleaned off, install it, pull that off, take the whole thing outside and paint it. That way it'll all match. I'm just going to give y'all a quick update. Real quick, I was going to show you my preferred method on sealing this dude. If you'll remember, got my Tuba Ultra Gray still. I'm going to run around, put a real fine coat on here, like that. All the way around. Take my finger and smear it. Got a booger there. There we go. Give it a quick smear. Does not take much. Just enough to coat it and get the gasket good and stuck. Like that. Drop our gasket on. I'll give the gasket another good smear. There we go. You'll remember these go into the water pump housing. So I'm going to use my Permatex thread sealant with PTFE. I believe it works best. I've also, you've seen me in the past, take some Teflon tape and wrap them. You can do either one. Weep hole at the bottom. And my top bolt in. These are 9/16. I don't know the torque on them. I've never torqued these before. You might want to if that's what you like to do. I'm just going to tighten up evenly. I see my gasket squishing out. Get a good squish. That's it. We want the orange paint to stick to it. There we are. You can take another new one. A little bit more. Wipe those bolt heads off so the paint will stick better to the bolt heads. There it is. I'm going to leave my bolts for this. I'm going to lay them out over here. I'll move some of these others. And I'll be back. Oil pump. I've got my gasket stuck on. The oil pump takes 4 bolts. One of them is a little bit longer, you'll see. I can start it first. But I went ahead and put my O-ring on there. And what I'll do for it is take me a little drop of oil, not a lot at all. Coat it like that. And I can take my rag and just wipe some of that excess off. There we go. Start that in first. There it is. The other 3 bolts are the same length. And I'm going to shoot them here in just a second. There it is. $35. That's it. With the sealer, I believe that one went. It's going on the bottom. There we go. Got my gaskets hung on just a second ago. Come on in there. There it is. And this dude torques to 30 foot-pounds. I even put some sealer on the top one. Not necessary, but I did it anyway. While I was sealing, I went ahead and did it. I give it a little lift as I tighten here. There we go. And there we are. I'm going to get that torqued and move on to something else. So, while I'm over here, I got my fuel pump gasket on. Went ahead and stuck my rod in through that hole there and put the plug. Got me a little bit of assembly lubricant on the end of my new pump. This is a Carter pump that he got. I even threw a little thread sealing on the bolt heads because they go into basically the block there. You can see I don't want any chance of any oil seeping out or something like that, so while I got it there, might as well use it. Get these started under my shaft, if I can. There it is. That book actually did not say what to torque this to. I'm going to put it at 30 because that's what the 3/8 water pump bolts were. And that might be a little excessive, but should be fine. So I've got my little wrencher out here. I'll get this tightened up and move on to heads. There she is. All right. So now all I'm trying to do is get ahead in life by putting some heads on this motor. Something I always do, clean this surface with brake cleaner, just like everything else. All my head bolts are laid out where they go. There's two different lengths. Went ahead and cleaned the surface of the head also. That's nice. Blew out all the ports. They're good to go. It's got the right springs for the cam. The head itself was surfaced at the machine shop again. Just be sure everything's good with it. Looks nice. These are 452s. What I'll do now is take the head and just test fit it. I'm going to lay it on the block as it is. Be sure my dowel pins line up fine and all that before I like to have it on an angle like this so you can see the holes. There we go. Now I can get down and look. There's no excessive gaps, right? This looks just as tight and nice all the way around. The head doesn't rock or anything crazy on the engine. It shouldn't, but that's something to test. So I'll pop it back off here. Set it on my bench. These are the Felpro 8519 PTIs. You've seen them a million times. You've probably used them a million times. I always put that section of the gasket down. I did compare a second ago and they are basically identical. If you were to flip it over, it does the exact same thing, but from the factory I always remember seeing these down, so I just do it that way. You can do it any way you'd like. There we go. And I'll see if I can't ease our head down. I don't typically coat these with anything. Some people use copper coat. I believe Felpro says to put them on as is. Voila. I still got tape over my ports here where I'd painted. I'm going to leave that on there until I get done transporting the engine. And I won't get any dirt or trash, any of that stuff in there. Head bolts, I'm just going to dip them in a little bit of oil before I drop them in the holes. That way they will be lubed before they get torqued. Now it's time to torque this head down. And you may can already see I've cheated. There are 17 bolts in this head. And I can't always remember the torque sequence. So I went ahead and wrote it on the head of all of them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. But it's all there. Kind of hard to see in the glare, but it'll make this process go a little faster. I'm going to do it in 3 steps. Probably start at 45. We're supposed to end at 70 foot-pounds, so I'll go 45, 60, 70. That'll be fine. Do it in 3 steps. And I'll set you up. I'll let you watch me do this head, and then I'll do the other head, and then we'll move on to something else. I'm starting back at 45. Just like I never, ever touched it. Numbers make it real nice. $14, $15, $16, $17. Now, I'm gonna run her up to, we can go to 60, why not? Number one. £70. Number one. 17. That head is done. I will put the other side on. I may actually come back and check this one more time after 7 minutes. Some people say it won't change at all. Others say that something could happen.